the Adelaide Football Club belong in finals. We've earned our right to be here. I can guarantee you that I'll be running out Saturday night with 21 very, very hungry players.
We know what they're very capable of. They've got some high-quality individuals and they've got some really proud individuals who've got great history at their footy club. We'll expect them to come out playing finals-style footy because they've had success doing that in recent years. But I'll expect our guys to do the same.
So the challenge is a formidable one, and the leadership of North Melbourne with us to discuss it. Coach Brad Scott, welcome.
Thanks, Jared.
And Captain Andrew Swallow, welcome to 360. You mentioned earlier today, Brad, that there was a lot to digest and that you have taken the time to do that. Just give us an insight. What does that look like?
Well, I think the off-field side of things has been dealt with to a certain extent, and people will have a view on whether that was right, wrong or otherwise. But the reality is we enter our final series this week with our focus firmly on where it needs to be. I think Drew Petrie spoke publicly about allowing himself to think a little bit beyond the short term, which is always dangerous for a player. Players should always have their focus firmly on the short term. And Drew feels like that's out of his system now, and I think that probably speaks volumes for him, but also for the club, that the player leadership group and the coaches have spoken about what we need to do this Saturday night. And so I've got great confidence that our focus is going to be where it needs to be. And
the 4 departing players have evidently spoken to that to the group as well.
Absolutely, and they've been incredible in terms of the way they've carried themselves and the way they've implored their teammates to keep their focus firmly on this weekend and on finals. And we've got to rediscover our very best form, and we know we're going to have to produce that against Adelaide this Saturday night. And as a coach, it gives you great confidence when your senior players are leading the charge on that front.
When did the players speak to the main group, Andrew?
They spoke a couple of weeks ago when it was on that day when it was announced. So they got up and spoke, and they were all really good and spoke really well. And yeah, it was probably a bit of a turbulent week or two, but the weekend off has really allowed us just to get away and mentally refresh and physically and come back and get back into training, and really feel like the last couple of sessions have been as good, if not our best sessions of the year.
Probably tiptoed a couple of days around that time, and you went into the game and lost. Drew didn't get a kick. The importance of having that break, does that mean that all that's just pushed behind now?
I think that's a feeling. I think it's we can, I don't know, just mentally get away from the game and sort of just focus on what a great opportunity we have in front of us. It doesn't matter what's happened in the second half of the year. The 22 weeks have been just a sorting out period to get into the top 8. We're there now, and we've got an incredible opportunity and something that we're really excited to go over to Adelaide and face what's going to be a big challenge.
What has been, it's a lovely word, challenge. I think there's challenges every week in football, regardless of what happened to the players. But what was the one area or the couple of the focus areas that you thought, Brad, that I have to work on here from the last game to this game? And we talk about the art of coaching, so many different aspects. What was an aspect of coaching that you had to do this week to get this team up?
Yeah, it's never as easy as just boiling it down to one simple area. I mean, the cliched response, Robbo, is you're trying to work on all facets of your game, whether that's your attack links into how you defend, but all of those things with ball in hand or trying to get the ball back. If you can't win the ball in a contest, then you're not going to win finals footy. So now we've tinkered with our forward structure a little bit, partly due to availability and losing some personnel. So that's been a pretty big focus for us. Jared Waite's had 2 really good weeks on the training track now, so working him in with the other guys and getting back to our forward synergy that we had in the first half of the year has been a focus. But we haven't taken our eye from the fact that to win finals, you need to be a brutal contested side, and that's where our focus will firmly be, because I think that if we can get that part of the game right, then that flows into every other part.
Is it a long time since you've played your best footy, or is that Sydney game enough of a case study to go, actually, we're really close here on some of the aspects that we treasure?
I don't think anyone who's outside the inner sanctum of football clubs would realise just what a fine line it is. And I think the Hawthorn game, while we had a really poor start to that game, we dominated large chunks of that game as well, and then we took that in to the Sydney game as well. So they're pretty close to the two best sides in the comp, and we were just off it. So we've just got to put that last piece of the puzzle together and get everything to click, because I think the foundation is there, and we know that our best footy is good enough to compete with anyone. I think we've proven that over the last few years, and we've got a lot of players who look forward to this time of year and have proven themselves in finals before.
So how significant are those last two final series, Andrew, because you have faced these very challenges and come through them?
Gives you just great confidence. It doesn't really matter where you sit in the ladder. Gives you great confidence to be able to go in and know that you've been there with guys who've competed and played well and got the results. So, and we've also been able to go interstate. To go up to Sydney last year and win a final up there. I think for us, it was huge.
That's important, isn't it? Getting your head around the fact that you're going interstate. But sometimes for football clubs, under siege a little bit, that's been a really good antidote to say, okay, let's get on the plane. It's just the group, the really close people, family and friends. Let's just get over there and do the job. Is that a sort of a mental factor or not?
Oh, I think the guys would look forward to it. I think it's nice to go away and cut out all the noise, all the external noise, and you sort of just bunker in with the guys and spend a bit of time with them, and they're the guys you're going to go out to battle with. So to be able to do that, I think is probably a good thing for us. And it was, I suppose, good to get the result last year because it just gives us that extra bit of confidence.
Do you have, just because you had the extra time, do you have a little bit more data overload? I mean, I'm sure the game is it's a big game of football. You assess the opposition. Because you've had that extra time, has there been data overload or have to have been aware of pushing back? Don't let them play the game last week. Can you sort of explain that sort of mental side of it?
Yeah, I think there can be data overload for players, and we've been really careful as coaches not to overload them with information too early in the week. We've kept this week really similar to a normal Saturday to Saturday preparation. But for the coaches, we've gone through an enormous amount of data and a lot of homework, and I don't think any coach feels confident until they've done all the work. So as a coaching group, we've done a massive amount of work, but I think the art in it is how much you filter that through to your players, because really you want your players going out with supreme confidence in the plan and with a couple of really key points front of mind.
Is it what's the key? Is it stopping Adelaide? The emphasis, I should say, the emphasis. Is it, right, we know how Adelaide play, this is what we've got to do to stop them? Or do you still largely concentrate, right, this is what we have to do ourselves to kick a score, and they actually work against us? Or is it a balance?
No, the truth is there's a balance, but I don't think any finals are truly won by trying to counter what the opposition do well. I mean, you've got to take it up to the opposition and force them to try and counter what you do well. So we'll be looking to get on the front foot. We've got a ruckman who's really keen. Never seen him so keen for a game of footy in my life. And we've got an inside midfield that are as good in the contest as any in the comp. So when you can get those things going your way, then the rest of the game tends to be dictated from that. So that'll be a really strong focus for us, but I'm sure it will be for Adelaide too.
Big ground on the outside, really confident you can get the job done there, both ways?
Oh yeah, we've played our best footy on big grounds. I mean, we don't get an opportunity to play on the MCG all that often, but we certainly love playing there.
How many games you played at the MCG this year?
I think you know the answer to that.
No, I don't. But if you said to me it was like, I really don't. I'll have a guess. 3 times.
1.
So you're a Melbourne-based team and you played at the MCG once. That means seriously. We're not it's finals week. We're not here to pick in a fight, but that's a disgrace, isn't it?
No,
that's not right.
Our home ground's Etihad Stadium, so I mean that's where we play most of our footy, and we love taking games down to Hobart as well. It's been a fortress for us. So you can't play everywhere. We'd love to play
once
all our
at
games.
The MCG. You're not Fremantle.
Well, Etihad, MCG, Blundstone Arena. That'd be fine. We can play there every week. It'd be nice.
Idle minds, and the weekend off certainly set that going. I'm just curious, are you aware that it's said of you, you're perfect for Gold Coast and you're perfect for the Brisbane Lions? Are you aware of that external chatter?
No, I don't even understand the question, to be honest.
You're apparently going to get contacted by Brisbane to coach Brisbane and break a two-year contract with North Melbourne, where you've been building up a lot of trust and faith and hope, and you're going to abandon that and go to Brisbane.
And what's the question directed at Andrew?
And you're going to
Gold Coast rather than your brother coming here.
Yeah.
Well,
So the captain's going to just get up and walk out as well.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason this season's called silly season outside the finals. And look, our focus in footy, there's all sorts of things that has the potential to drag your focus away from where it needs to be. And I think one of the great things about football clubs, when they come together, they get the focus right back on where it needs to be, and they're able to shut out the external dialogue, whatever that may be. And we've got a leadership group that have focused our players, but our 4 veterans, who will be finishing at North at the end of this year, have led the charge in making sure our focus is on the Adelaide Crows this weekend. So my job as coach to keep the focus where it needs to be is made easier by those guys.
Is Drewy in? Can you announce that or not?
I think we've got Jared Waite, who's done a really solid block of the last bit of training, and we're working really hard on our forward synergy. But what I can say about Drew is that he's a proven finals performer, he's a proven big game performer, and he stands up in the big moments, and he's done it for us repeatedly.
And you back in your players. You've got a history of coaching of doing that.
Well, they keep performing, so you back them in until they prove otherwise. But I think the credits that Drew's got in the bank in big moments, it's irreplaceable.
Righto, he's in. The making a decision on a guy who hasn't played for so long in Jared Waite, is that a difficult decision?
Well, it's a massive decision because but it's a collaborative decision at the same time. I mean, as a coach, you analyse all the data, you analyse all the work they've done, you watch them really closely on the track, you take the advice of your medical staff, your sports science staff, but at the end of the day, you probably got to make a decision based on your own gut feel.
Do you have a face-to-face with Jared about this and say, right, let's talk, let's sit down and talk, how you feeling?
Oh, with 100% certainty. That's just a given. I'll have a face-to-face discussion with almost every player this week about where they're placed. And Wadey, one of the things that's really stood out this year when we had some injury challenges has been that almost every player has said, I really want to play, I feel like I'm ready to go, but I don't want to let the team down. And that speaks volumes for the culture we've been able to create at North, and Wadey will be the same. But he'll know that if he declares himself ready and we make that decision for him to play, that he's got to perform, he's got to stand up for the team.
Good luck on Saturday night.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you.
I want to play myself at the moment, it was pretty full on.